and all the things that those can be for, because I think they're a really versatile tool. Especially today's day and age with Pinterest. Pinterest is kind of like a bulletin board in that sense, where people gather inspiration in different folders for different projects, and they're able to share it with others. So it's also great for people who do graphic design, or interior design, or industrial design. It's just a way of getting information to you, and then back to your client or your customer, to be able to show them where you want, which direction you want to go in before actually making something, which is really important to try and have that kind of proper communication with someone else. So the inspiration can come from very different places. So it can come from, you know, the history of art and like the sunflowers in a Monet painting, or it can come from you know, the lattices in your garden, or it can come from something you see on the street, or it can come from a magazine, or from any number of places online. So, or even, you know, even the history of costume, because you may want to make something, but you need to kind of refresh your ideas about, oh, what are the 5,000 different ways of making a sleeve, which I think is really fascinating to kind of get ideas from different time periods and bring them to today's day and age, which is, I think, what a lot of designers do, because you see fashion as being very cyclical, and things seem to come back into fashion, or different colors become popular again and again, and so there's just tons of places to get that inspiration. So then, as far as like what the content is, it can be pretty varied. Here we have mostly kind of the images from magazines. There's also these kind of swatches, which could be fabric swatches or textures, right? They're kind of like, there's this kind of watercolor effect happening, so you could also use that as a tool. And then there's actual drawings that can become a part of the mood board, or even taking notes and saying, oh, what I'm really interested in is the way, you know, this little hem is done over here, or the combination of this color and this color, or look at that trim over here, or so really as a sketchbook of signaling out certain things that are interesting to you, and gathering them all in one place. So it can also be a different kind of mood board where everything is integrated, so it's more like one large landscape in which things are very cut out all the way around, and all the figures look like they're in the same space, or in a more kind of integrated collage. There's different styles of doing it, and then I love the way these ones have the fabric swatches, so that gives us like an actual sense of what the textures are going to be like, and what the yeah. Another thing that I like doing is actually making a sketch like this, but with real fabric, and so cutting out real pieces of fabric and pleating them and putting, you know, sewing them up and making an actual little skirt. And so you're actually showing your client what the textures are going to be, because I feel like, for example, colored pencil is really difficult to make pleats or to show the texture, or, you know, there's no way to communicate velvet like showing a piece of velvet. So that's yet like another tool, I think, that's available. And yeah, so we can pay attention to shapes, like the way in here these shapes are, or these details here, which and then the back here comes back over here in this drawing.
So like, does anybody watch Project Runway? You know when they have those challenges when they make some of the people go downtown New York, and some of the people, they have to go on a boat and look at the city from one side, and then they make the other team go on the rooftop and they have to look at the city from down. and they're getting their inspiration.
Mhm.
So that's another, so those challenges are all about getting inspired by
Yeah.
stuff.
Or they
Yeah.
send them to the hardware store, and in the hardware store
Right.
there's, there's also texture, there's also color, there's also, there's tons of
Or
things.
the candy store, the flower store,
Yeah.
yeah, and they have to make those crazy costumes and fashion out of that stuff. That's part of how they're trying to teach those people on Project Runway how to get inspiration from different places. Yeah.
I mean, you hear about architects who, are inspired by a piece of crumpled paper in the trash can, and that's going to be the shape of
Frank
the building.
Gehry. Yeah.
Who would have known? But yeah, all these things are totally possible in our imagination, and but by having these tools, we can communicate with others and say, oh, this is what this is the direction we could go in, and then once you find the materials, then your ideas evolve again, because not everything is possible. You can't jump from one thing to the other without reality jumping in. Yeah. So it's kind of like gathering a palette, just the way a painter, I think, would, choose his colors on a palette and then start to paint. So you're deciding whether you want, these kind of hot and bright kind of colors, or whether you want, the soft pastel-y colors. There's all kinds of choices and things that get pushed aside and said, okay, well that'll be for the next outfit, but for this one, let's focus on this. So it's narrowing down the infinite possibilities as well into a kind of tidy palette of things for you to work with. So, and they're fun. They're fun to make, and that's the most important part.
Awesome. Thank you.
I think that's it. Yeah.